Hey, story lovers. It's time to dive into another heart-wrenching cheating wife story that'll leave you speechless. Picture this. A small-town festival in Maple Ridge, Oregon, where Nathan Brooks' world crumbles as his wife's scandalous affair unfolds under the festival lights, with his so-called friends cheering her on. This Reddit cheating story-style saga is packed with infidelity story drama, betrayal stings, revenge burns, and justice hits hard. From cunning plans to courtroom showdowns, Nathan fights to reclaim his dignity, but at what cost? And could a new spark in this quiet town mend his broken heart? Grab a coffee, hit that like button, and subscribe for more Reddit family drama. Let's unravel this cheating revenge story's epic together. Nathan Brooks sat alone in the dim glow of his office, the only sound the faint whir of his computer fan in Maple Ridge's modest cybersecurity firm. At 39, the Air Force veteran had forged a life of quiet pride in this Oregon river town, nestled among pine forests and rolling hills. His colonial-style home, with its wraparound porch and rose garden, housed a decade-long marriage to Cassandra Cassie Reed, the vibrant event planner who'd once been his anchor through deployments and doubts. Nathan's weathered hands, scarred from years of fixing fighter jets, now danced across a keyboard, finalizing a client report. It was a balmy Sunday evening in August, the kind where Maple Ridge buzzed with the summer fest, food stalls, live country music, and craft beer tents along the riverfront. Nathan had promised to join Cassie there after work, picturing her in the sundress she'd worn when they danced at their wedding. His phone vibrated, shattering the calm. Ryan Carter's name flashed, an unusual call for a festival night. Nathan's brow furrowed as he answered. "Nate, you gotta hear this." Ryan's voice was raw, trembling with urgency. "It's Cassie. She's at the Summerfest, main stage area, and it's a nightmare." Nathan's chest tightened, a cold dread pooling in his gut. "What's she doing?" he asked, voice low, already fearing the answer. Ryan's pause felt like an eternity before the truth hit. She's with Tristan Wells, her college ex. They're making a spectacle, kissing, practically undressing each other in front of the whole damn town. And Todd and Monica Hayes, they're cheering her on, toasting like it's a show. Nathan's breath hitched. Todd and Monica, their closest friends, who'd stood by them at their 10th anniversary party 2 weeks ago, were celebrating his wife's betrayal? His mind spiraled to that night, when Cassie, radiant in a silver dress, had toasted their love before 50 guests. Later, in their kitchen, she'd snapped, "You're just the guy who keeps the lights on, Nate." Her words laced with venom he dismissed as fatigue from organizing the party. Now they clawed at his heart. "You're sure?" Nathan croaked, his throat sandpaper dry. "I'm here," Ryan said. "I sent a video. Brace yourself." A notification pinged. Nathan's fingers shook as he opened the message. The footage loaded. Cassie, chestnut hair glowing under festival lights, pressed against Tristan by the main stage. His hands gripped her hips, their lips locked in a brazen kiss, her body swaying to the band's twang. Todd clapped wildly, grinning like a fool, while Monica raised a beer, shouting, "Get it, girl!" The crowd roared, some whistling, others filming with phones, their jeers a chorus of mockery. Nathan's vision swam, his pulse a deafening drum in his ears. His fist slammed the desk, the wood splintering under his knuckles, blood trickling from torn skin. The pain was nothing compared to the wound inside. He saw their first date, Cassie laughing under a Portland Ferris wheel, promising forever. Their wedding, her vows whispered with tears. Her recent distance, late nights, curt texts, cold silences. How long had she been lying? How long had Todd and Monica known, laughing behind his back? "I'm coming," Nathan growled, voice thick with rage and despair. He snatched his leather jacket, the one Cassie had bought him after his last deployment, its weight now a bitter reminder. The drive to Summerfest was a blur, traffic lights ignored, tires screeching on Maple Ridge's river roads. The town's charm, with its historic storefronts and festival banners, felt like a cruel facade. His mind churned. Cassie's event planning excuses, her disinterest in their hikes, the way she'd flinched at his touch. The festival's lights loomed, music and laughter spilling into the night. Ryan waited by the entrance, face grim. "They're still at it," he said, pointing to the stage. Nathan pushed through the sweaty, drunken crowd, the stench of fried food and beer choking him. Then he saw her, Cassie, entwined with Tristan, her laughter a knife to his soul. Todd and Monica stood nearby, clinking bottles, their smirks a betrayal as deep as hers. The crowd's taunts grew louder, some shouting crude jabs at the clueless husband. Nathan's body shook, a primal scream trapped in his throat. His marriage, his trust, his place in Maple Ridge, obliterated in a haze of festival lights and public shame. Nathan Brooks stood frozen at the edge of the Maple Ridge Summerfest's main stage, the crowd's jeers ringing in his ears like a taunting chorus. Cassie's laughter, sharp and unapologetic, cut through the twang of the country band as she swayed in Tristan Wells' arms, their bodies pressed scandalously close under the festival lights. Todd and Monica Hayes clinked beer bottles nearby, their smirks a knife in Nathan's already bleeding heart. His knuckles, still raw and bloodied from splintering his desk, throbbed as he clenched his fists, the pain grounding him against the urge to charge forward. Ryan Carter's hand gripped his shoulder, a silent plea to stay calm. But Nathan's rage was a wildfire, barely contained. He shoved through the drunken throng, ignoring the spilled beer and crude shouts of, "Look, it's the husband." The stench of fried dough and sweat clung to the air, amplifying his nausea. As he reached the stage's edge, Cassie's eyes met his, her chestnut hair glinting like a traitor's halo. For a fleeting moment, surprise flickered across her face, but it vanished, replaced by a defiant smirk. She disentangled from Tristan, stepping forward with the confidence of a woman who'd rehearsed this moment. "Oh, Nate," she drawled, loud enough for the crowd to hear, "didn't expect you to crawl out of your office for once." The crowd hooted, some laughing, others filming with their phones. Nathan's jaw tightened, his voice low but steady. "Save the act, Cassie. I saw you with him. 10 years and this is what you do?" Her smirk widened, unrepentant. 10 years of being your errand boy's wife," she shot back, gesturing at him like he was a prop. "Tristan's got ambition, Nate. You're just comfortable." The word dripped with disdain, echoing her lights-on jab from their anniversary party. The crowd roared, egging her on. Nathan's vision tunneled, but he held his ground, his Air Force discipline barely keeping him from snapping. He turned to Todd and Monica, their faces now a mix of amusement and unease. "And you two," he said, voice cold as steel. "Clapping like this is a damn game? I trusted you. We all did." Todd's grin faltered, but Monica tossed her hair, scoffing. "Lighten up, Nate. It's just a bit of fun," she said, raising her bottle. Nathan stepped closer, his presence towering. "Fun? Watching my wife betray me makes you my enemies. Remember that." The crowd quieted, sensing the shift. Tristan, silent until now, stepped forward, his real estate developer swagger oozing. "You threatening them, Brooks?" he sneered, squaring his shoulders. "Or her. Back off, or we'll have a problem." Nathan locked eyes with him, unflinching. "The problem's yours, Wells. You touched my wife. Step into my home, and Oregon's stand your ground law will be the least of your worries." Tristan's bravado wavered, his stance softening under Nathan's glare. Cassie, undeterred, laughed, a cruel, cutting sound. "Go home, Nate. We're done. I want a divorce." The word landed like a grenade, but Nathan didn't flinch. "Divorce?" he said, voice dangerously calm. "You'll get it, Cassie. But you're not stepping foot in my house again. Not for your clothes, not for your lies, nothing. Try it, and you'll regret it." The crowd murmured, some gasping, others whispering. Cassie's smirk faltered, her eyes narrowing. "You can't stop me," she hissed. Nathan leaned in, his voice a lethal whisper. "Watch me." He turned to leave, but not before facing Todd and Monica again. "You picked your side. You'll pay for it." Ryan followed, his silence heavy with support. As Nathan pushed back through the crowd, the band's music swelled, but it couldn't drown out the crowd's taunts, or Cassie's final shout, "You re nothing without me." Nathan's steps didn't falter, but each word carved deeper into his soul. Outside, the cool river air hit him, doing nothing to quench the fury burning within. His marriage was a battlefield now, and he'd fight with everything he had. In his truck, he pulled out his phone, dialing a number he hadn't used in years. "Martin Hayes," a gruff voice answered. Nathan's grip tightened on the wheel. "Martin, it's Nate. I need you to make someone regret ever crossing me." Nathan Brooks gripped the steering wheel of his truck, the Maple Ridge riverfront fading in his rearview mirror as the Summerfest S lights dimmed behind him. Cassie's final taunt, "You're nothing without me," echoed in his skull, each syllable fueling the fire in his chest. The cool Oregon night did nothing to soothe the betrayal searing his soul. His knuckles, crusted with dried blood from his outburst at the office, ached as he sped toward his colonial home, its rose garden now a mocking symbol of a decade-long lie. The call to Martin Hayes, a ruthless divorce lawyer who'd served with Nathan's Air Force unit, had been brief but pointed. "I need you to make someone regret ever crossing me," Nathan had said, and Martin's gravelly chuckle promised results. Pulling into his driveway, Nathan killed the engine, the silence deafening. His phone buzzed. Ryan Carter checking in. "You okay, man?" Ryan asked. Nathan's voice was steel. "Not yet, but I will be. Meet me at the house." Inside, the living room felt alien. Cassie's touches, throw pillows, framed photos, now taunts of her deceit. Nathan poured 2 whiskeys, handing one to Ryan as he arrived. "She wants a divorce," Nathan said, staring at the amber liquid. "I'll give it to her, but she's getting nothing." Ryan nodded, his loyalty unwavering. "What's the plan?" Before Nathan could answer, headlights flashed outside. Martin Hayes stepped out, his silver hair catching the porch light, his briefcase a weapon of precision. Over coffee at the kitchen table, Martin laid out the battlefield. "Your house was bought before the marriage, Nate. It's yours. The cybersecurity firm, your dad's name's on the deed and you're just a salaried employee. $200 a month, right?" Nathan smirked. "On paper, yeah." Martin's eyes gleamed. "Smart. Cassie's got no claim. Joint accounts?" Nathan leaned back. "Emptied them this afternoon right after Ryan's call. Transferred to a trust she can't touch." Martin laughed, a predator's sound. "She'll fight for alimony, but with her event planner salary higher than yours, we'll flip it. Demand spousal support for you." Nathan's jaw tightened, imagining Cassie's face when she realized her greed would backfire. The plan grew darker as Nathan's phone rang again. Jake Larson, a Marine buddy who'd stayed close after their service. "Heard you're in a war, Brooks," Jake said. "Need the cavalry?" Nathan didn't hesitate. "Get your crew, my place, 1 hour. By midnight, Jake and 3 other veterans, hardened men who'd faced worse than betrayal, crowded Nathan's garage. Over beers, Nathan outlined his orders. Cassie's stuff, clothes, jewelry, everything. Pack it, but make it hurt. Mud on her dresses, coffee on her shoes. Her wedding gown? I want it ruined." Jake grinned, cracking his knuckles. "Consider it done. Any message?" Nathan's eyes darkened. "Leave a note. You wanted freedom. Here's your start." The men set to work, their laughter grim as they trashed Cassie's belongings. Her silk blouses stomped into the dirt, her gown soaked in motor oil. Nathan watched, a cold satisfaction settling in. Dawn broke as a knock rattled the door. Eleanor Reed, Cassie's mother, stood on the porch, her face lined with grief. "Nathan, please," she began, voice trembling. "Cassie was wrong, but don't destroy her." Nathan crossed his arms, unmoved. "She destroyed us, Eleanor. 10 years, and she spat on it in front of the whole town." Eleanor's eyes welled, but she pressed on. "She says she loves Tristan, but she loved you too." Nathan's laugh was bitter. "Love? She called me her errand boy. She's done." Eleanor flinched, pleading. "Don't hurt her, Nate. She's still my daughter." Nathan softened, but only slightly. "I won't touch her unless she comes for me. But her, Tristan, Todd, Monica, they'll all pay. Every single one." Eleanor nodded, defeated, and left, her footsteps heavy. Nathan turned to Martin, who'd watched silently. "What's next?" Martin's smile was razor-sharp. "We file tomorrow. Divorce papers, restraining order, and a little surprise for her festival clients. She's about to learn what losing everything feels like. Nathan nodded, his resolve ironclad. The war had just begun, and he'd fight with the precision of a soldier, leaving no traitor unscathed. The morning sun cast long shadows over Maple Ridge as quiet streets, as Nathan Brooks drove to Martin Hayes' law office, the weight of his decision settling like stone in his chest. 2 days had passed since the Summerfest confrontation, where Cassie's betrayal had burned itself into his memory. Martin's plan, laid out in Nathan's kitchen, was now in motion. Divorce papers, a restraining order, and a calculated strike to unravel Cassie's world. Nathan parked outside the brick building, its sign reading, Hayes and Associates, gleaming with promise. Inside, Martin, sharp in a tailored suit, slid a stack of documents across his desk. "Signed and sealed," he said, his voice a low growl. "Philip Kane's delivering these to Cassie's office at noon. Peak hours, maximum impact. Photos from the festival, witness statements all attached." Nathan nodded, picturing Cassie's face as her colleagues watched her downfall. "And the clients?" he asked. Martin's grin was predatory. "Her festival contracts? I called in a favor. They're pulling out today." Nathan's lips twitched, a grim satisfaction stirring. Cassie's event planning career, her pride, was about to crumble. At 11:55 a.m., Nathan and Ryan Carter stood across from Voss Events, Cassie's workplace, a sleek office in downtown Maple Ridge. Philip Kane, a wiry process server with a knack for theatrics, strode inside, papers in hand. Through the glass, Nathan saw Cassie at her desk laughing with her boss Lydia Voss, a longtime friend of Nathan's from high school. Philip approached, his voice cutting through the office hum. "Cassandra Reed, you've been served." Cassie froze, her smile vanishing as she took the envelope. Colleagues turned, whispers spreading like wildfire. Lydia's eyes widened, scanning the documents: divorce filing, adultery evidence, restraining order. Cassie's hands shook, her face flushing as she tore open the packet. Festival photos spilling out, her with Tristan, lips locked, crowd cheering. "This is a lie!" she shrieked, but Lydia's cold stare silenced her. "Explain this, Cassie," Lydia said, voice icy. "Clients are dropping us, the festival board's furious." Cassie stammered, her charm useless against the truth. Outside, Nathan watched, his heart a mix of vindication and ache. Ryan clapped his shoulder. "She's done, man." But Nathan's war wasn't over. The courtroom loomed a week later, a gray stone building where Maple Ridge's dramas unfolded. Nathan sat beside Martin, his uncle, Judge Ellis Brooks, presiding. Cassie entered, flanked by a nervous lawyer, her defiance faded, eyes hollow. Tristan wasn't there. Rumors swirled he'd left town after losing a major deal. Martin presented the case with surgical precision. Cassie's affair, proven by photos and Ryan's testimony, Nathan's premarital assets, house firm, and Cassie's higher income. "We request spousal support for Mr. Brooks," Martin said. $600 a month, 2 years. Cassie's lawyer sputtered, but Judge Ellis, his face stern, leaned forward. "Mrs. Reed, your actions have consequences. No assets will be divided. Support is granted." Cassie gasped, her lawyer whispering frantically, but the gavel fell. Nathan's victory was sealed, yet the triumph felt hollow, the ghost of their love lingering. After court, Lydia Voss called Nathan. "She's fired," Lydia said. "Couldn't trust her after this. I'm sorry, Nate." Nathan thanked her, but the words felt distant. Back home, Jake Larson dropped by, reporting the festival board's blacklist of Cassie's services. "She's a pariah now," Jake said, handing Nathan a beer. Nathan stared at the bottle, memories of Cassie's laughter at their first festival date flashing unbidden. "Good," he said, voice flat, but his grip on the bottle tightened, betraying the pain beneath his resolve. Martin called later, his tone smug. "Her clients are gone, Nate. She's got nothing left to fight with." Nathan hung up, standing on his porch as the Oregon dusk settled. The legal ambush had crushed Cassie, but Todd and Monica Hayes, who'd cheered her betrayal, were next. Nathan's plan for them was already forming, a darker retribution brewing. He'd won this battle, but the war for his dignity raged on, each victory carving deeper into the man he'd been. Nathan Brooks stood in the shadow of Maple Ridge's downtown, the crisp October air carrying the faint scent of pine from the surrounding forests. A week had passed since his courtroom victory over Cassie, her career and pride reduced to ashes by divorce papers and a festival blacklist. Yet the sting of Todd and Monica Hayes' betrayal at Summerfest, their clinking bottles, their smirks as Cassie kissed Tristan, burned as fiercely as ever. Nathan's cybersecurity firm had long managed their small marketing agency's IT systems, a favor born of years of barbecues and shared secrets. Now that trust would be their undoing. In his office, Nathan reviewed their expired contract, a detail Todd and Monica had ignored, assuming his loyalty would cover their lapse. He dialed Hank Riley, their biggest client, who'd relied on Nathan's servers for data security. "Hank," Nathan said, voice smooth but lethal. "Todd and Monica's contract lapsed last month. I'm pulling their access tomorrow. You might want to secure your data." Hank's shock was palpable, but he agreed, sensing the storm brewing. Nathan hung up, his jaw set, and called Jake Larson. "It's time," he said. "Wipe their systems clean. Every file, every backup." Jake's chuckle was dark. "They'll be begging by noon." By morning, Nathan's team executed the order with military precision. Todd and Monica's agency, housed in a quaint storefront, went dark. Servers offline, client files erased, emails frozen. Nathan drove by, watching Todd storm out, phone pressed to his ear, face red with panic. Monica followed, her usual poise shattered, shouting at Todd to fix it. Nathan parked nearby, stepping out to meet their gaze. "Problem?" he asked, voice dripping with mock concern. Todd lunged forward, fists clenched. "You did this, Brooks. You killed our business." Nathan didn't flinch, his Air Force frame steady. "You killed our friendship when you cheered Cassie's affair. Contracts expired, Todd. You should have paid attention." Monica's eyes blazed, but her voice cracked. "We were just joking, Nate. You're ruining us over a laugh?" Nathan stepped closer, his stare cutting. "A laugh? You toasted my humiliation in front of Maple Ridge. Now you're done." The argument drew a crowd. Shopkeepers, festival vendors, locals who'd seen the Summerfest video. Whispers turned to jeers, the town's gossip mill churning. Hank Riley appeared, face grim. "You two lied about your security," he said, loud enough for all to hear. "My contracts are with Nate now." Other clients followed, publicly cutting ties, their trust in Todd and Monica shattered. Monica's face crumpled, tears streaking her makeup as she begged Nathan. "Please, Nate, we have kids." Nathan's heart twitched, but his resolve held. "You should have thought of them at the festival," he said, turning away. Back at his office, Ryan Carter brought news. Todd and Monica's agency was folding, their marriage fracturing under the strain. "They're done, Nate," Ryan said, but Nathan's eyes were distant, fixed on a photo of his old German Shepherd Max who'd died last year. The pain of betrayal lingered, a wound no victory could fully heal. That evening at Maple Ridge's dog park, Nathan tossed a ball for a stray pup, his mind heavy. A woman approached, Claire Donovan, a local dog trainer with warm eyes and a gentle smile. "Rough day?" she asked, her shepherd Luna bounding nearby. Nathan shrugged, but her kindness cracked his armor, if only slightly. "Something like that," he replied, unaware that her presence marked a faint light in his darkening war. Later, Martin Hayes called with an update. Todd had tried hiring a lawyer, but no one in town would take his case, fearing Nathan's influence. "They're finished," Martin said, "but Cassie's making noise. She's planning to fight the alimony." Nathan gripped his phone, the next battle looming. Todd and Monica's ruin was complete, their laughter at Summerfest silenced by their own collapse. Yet Cassie's defiance and the shadow of Tristan's escape gnawed at Nathan. He stood on his porch, the Oregon stars above, plotting his final moves. Justice had a price, and he'd collect every cent, no matter the cost to his soul. Nathan Brooks leaned against the counter of Maple Ridge's riverfront diner, the clatter of plates and murmur of locals filling the crisp November morning. 2 weeks had passed since Todd and Monica's marketing agency crumbled under his calculated sabotage, their betrayal at Summerfest now a fading scar. But Cassie's audacity, her threat to fight the $600 a month alimony Nathan had secured, kept the war alive. Martin Hayes had uncovered her new alias, Mary Carter, used to dodge creditors and rent a rundown apartment on the edge of town. "She's desperate," Martin had said, "but she's meeting Tristan again. He's back, sniffing for a comeback." Nathan sipped his coffee, his eyes cold, ready to bury them both. Sally Whitaker, the diner's resident gossip, slid into the booth opposite. "Saw Mary Cassie at the laundromat," she whispered. "She's telling folks you tricked her out of everything. Tristan's with her, promising to handle you." Nathan's jaw twitched, but a plan solidified. He thanked Sally and left, calling Martin. "Set the alimony hearing," he said, "and find out what Tristan's hiding." By afternoon, Nathan stood outside Cassie's apartment, a sagging duplex with peeling paint. Ryan Carter waited in the truck, engine idling. Nathan knocked, and Cassie opened the door, her once radiant face gaunt, eyes red from sleepless nights. "Nate," she rasped, surprise giving way to defiance. "Come to gloat?" Nathan's voice was ice. "You're fighting alimony you can't afford. Drop it, or you'll lose more." Cassie laughed, bitter and hollow. "Tristan's got investors. We'll rebuild, and you'll pay." Nathan stepped closer, unflinching. "Tristan's a fraud. Keep pushing and you'll both drown." She slammed the door, but her trembling hands betrayed her fear. That evening, Martin called with dirt. Tristan's real estate firm had collapsed after Evan Holt, his ex-partner, exposed his embezzlement. "Evan's in town," Martin said. "He'll testify against Tristan for a price." Nathan agreed, wiring the funds. The alimony hearing arrived, held in Maple Ridge's community courthouse, a wood-paneled room packed with curious locals. Cassie, under her alias, sat with a budget lawyer, her bravado gone. Tristan, disheveled in a cheap suit, slouched beside her, avoiding Nathan's gaze. Martin presented Evan's testimony. Tristan had siphoned $200,000, leaving his firm bankrupt. "Miss Carter's income is zero," Martin argued, "and her partner's a criminal. Alimony's unsustainable." Cassie's lawyer fumbled, offering no defense. Judge Ellis Brooks, Nathan's uncle, ruled swiftly. "Alimony terminated. Ms. Carter, your claims are dismissed." Cassie's gasp echoed, her face crumpling as Tristan bolted from the room, chased by locals' jeers. Outside, Nathan caught him at the curb. "You touched my wife, Wells," he said, voice low. "Maple Ridge knows who you are now. Leave, or I'll dig deeper." Tristan's eyes darted, his swagger gone, and he fled, tires screeching. Days later, Jake Larson reported Cassie's eviction. Her landlord, fed up with unpaid rent, had tossed her belongings. Sally Whitaker spread word. Cassie was couch surfing, shunned by the town. Nathan drove by the duplex, seeing her last boxes on the curb. A broken woman who'd once been his world. At the dog park, Claire Donovan approached, her shepherd Luna bounding. "Heard about Mary," she said softly. "You okay?" Nathan met her gaze, the weight of his vengeance heavy. "Getting there," he said, her warmth a quiet anchor. Back home, Ryan dropped by with news. Tristan had left Oregon, his name toxic after Evan's expose. "Cassie's got nothing," Ryan said. Nathan nodded, staring at his empty living room, once filled with Cassie's laughter. The victory was complete. Cassie and Tristan ruined, their Summerfest arrogance crushed. Yet the cost lingered, a hollow ache for the love he'd lost. Nathan poured a whiskey, toasting silently to justice, but his eyes drifted to Claire's number, scribbled on a napkin from the diner. The war was nearly over, and a new chapter beckoned, one he wasn't sure he was ready to write. But first, he'd rebuild himself, piece by piece, in the town that had stood by him. Nathan Brooks stood on the porch of his Maple Ridge home, the December frost dusting the rose garden that once symbolized his life with Cassie. A month had passed since the final blow to Cassie and Tristan, her eviction, his flight from Oregon, their Summerfest betrayal now a bitter memory. The scars remained, etched in the empty spaces where Cassie's laughter once filled. But Nathan felt a shift, a quiet resolve to reclaim himself. The town, once a stage for his humiliation, had rallied behind him, their whispers now of respect, not pity. At the dog park, Claire Donovan's gentle presence had become a constant, her shepherd Luna romping with a stray pup Nathan had taken in, naming him Scout. Today, Claire joined him on the porch, her warm eyes scanning the horizon. "You're different, Nate," she said, handing him a coffee. "Lighter, maybe." Nathan met her gaze, the weight of his war easing under her kindness. "Trying to be," he replied, his voice softer than it had been in months. Their talks at the park had grown longer, her stories of training rescue dogs revealing a resilience that mirrored his own. Claire's past, a broken engagement, a move to Maple Ridge for a fresh start, felt like a bridge to his healing. Ryan Carter pulled up, his truck loaded with lumber for Nathan E.'s new project, a community cybersecurity workshop at the farmers market. "Town's buzzing about it," Ryan said, unloading boards. "They're calling you the guy who fought back and won." Nathan shrugged, but pride flickered. The workshop, funded by his firm, aimed to protect local businesses, a purpose born from his pain. At the market, Tom Wheeler, the grizzled organizer, clapped Nathan's shoulder. "Maple Ridge owes you, Brooks," he said, gesturing to vendors setting up stalls. "You showed us what loyalty looks like." Nathan nodded, his throat tight, the town's embrace a balm to his wounds. Later, Maggie Brooks, his younger sister, arrived from Portland, her hug fierce. "You're not that broken guy anymore," she said, eyeing Scout. "And Claire, she's good for you." Nathan didn't deny it, Claire's laughter as she played with Scout echoing in his mind. That evening, the market glowed with string lights, the workshop drawing a crowd. Nathan spoke, his Air Force cadence steady, teaching locals to secure their data. Claire stood nearby, her smile a quiet anchor. After they walked to the riverbank, Scout trotting ahead. "I wasn't sure I'd get here," Nathan admitted, the water reflecting stars. "After Cassie, Todd, Monica, Tristan, it felt like I'd lost everything." Claire touched his arm, her voice gentle. "You didn't lose you, Nate, and you've got us now." Her words settled deep, a truth he was starting to believe. A week later, Jake Larson dropped by with news. Cassie had left Maple Ridge, last seen taking a bus to Seattle, her alias Mary Carter abandoned. "Tristan's gone for good," Jake added. "Some scam in Nevada fell through." Nathan felt no triumph, only relief. The ghosts of Summerfest fading. Martin Hayes called, confirming the alimony case was closed, no appeals filed. "You're free, Nate," Martin said. Nathan hung up, standing in his living room, now warmed by Scout's toys and a photo of him and Claire at the market. The pain of Cassie's betrayal lingered, a dull ache, but it no longer defined him. At the dog park, Claire tossed a ball for Luna, her laughter bright. "Thinking of fostering Scout?" she asked. Nathan grinned, the first real smile in months. "More than fostering, he's mine." Claire's eyes sparkled, and as they walked, shoulders brushing, Nathan felt the stir of something new. Not love, not yet, but possibility. Maple Ridge, once a battlefield, was now home again, its people his strength. The farmers' market bustled ahead, a symbol of renewal. Nathan stepped forward, Scout at his side, Claire nearby, ready to write a new story. One of trust, not betrayal, built on the ashes of a life he'd fought to reclaim.